keeping me safe and sound.
Kick off with our
And when I
dance party
fall,
as we wait for people to
you've
come
tied
on
a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. 'Cause I'm the winner, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yes, I'm the winner, yeah.
Welcome everyone to Straight Talk with Sally. It's podcast batching day. Yes, it is. We do this every 4 to 8 weeks, depends on Mar, our podcast manager. But today we've got an amazing lineup of guests. So check it. Look who we have. We've got the amazing Roger Coles in here, the Canva man himself, and also the guru when it comes to LinkedIn, the guy that is like seriously one of the world's best LinkedIn specialists, and he's an automation nerd just like me. John Bellamy will also be in here today. Now, if you don't want to miss any of our live broadcasts, make sure you register for this little sparkly girl here, Dr. Sparkle. She'll hook you up with reminders so that you don't miss any of our lives. And hey, if you're over here on YouTube, don't forget that little ding dong bell, subscribe, and all the good things. But today's all about our amazing guest lineup for Podcast Batching Day. We do Podcast Batching Day a couple of times, or it used to be every 4 weeks. Now it's about every 8. But just depends on how much content my amazing Ma needs as well for the show. So if you don't know about Strategy with Sally, what we do is we drop 3 episodes a week. So one episode is an interview every other week, and then one episode is a longer teaching episode, and then twice a week we do quick tips. So if you haven't yet done so, you've got to go and check out Straight Talk with Sally. You can fall asleep with me in your ears, and also our amazing guests as well. But today's guest is Roger Coles. Roger Coles is a content creator, a social media designer, and after spending 15 years as a pastor, he turned his side hustle of design into a full time gig. And I love all the work that he does. On any given day, you may find him designing templates for clients or writing love songs about Canva. Now, I was a VIP special guest at the last Canva Create event, and he was up on stage singing. It was amazing. It was such a great event. And today we've got him here in the Sparkle World for you all. Everybody, help me in welcoming Roger. Hey, Roger, so nice
What's
to have
up? What's good?
you.
I'm so excited to be here.
So excited to be here. The last time we were together, we were in a bathtub surrounded by ducks.
Oh man, you got to explain that. That sounds awful.
It does, it does. Go on, let everyone know what we were doing.
Yes, we were there for the Canva Create event in September, and they had a photo booth. So if you don't know Canva, you'll notice that there's a lot of rubber duckies around. And so that's kind of just part of their brand. And so they had this cool photo booth with this giant tub filled with rubber duckies. And yeah, that's where the photo booth was. And so we got some silly photos there.
It was so much fun. It was so fun. Now, before we get into today's content, I would love to know more about you, like your background, where you came from. You were a pastor. How long have you been doing design for? And, how did you get here? So, yeah, share a bit of history. I want to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, great question. So I got my start in design actually after I graduated from college. I did not go to school for design and, don't have a degree in design. A lot of that was just Professor Google and Dr. YouTube, just learning the ropes. And so the way it started was I graduated with a degree in religion and came home and started serving in my local church. And the guy who was the youth pastor started teaching me a little bit about Photoshop because we needed things like registration forms. And back then there was something called MySpace. The young folks probably don't remember MySpace, but
Yeah,
so I
okay.
was like, yeah. So I started to kind of like get my feet wet with designing things that just the youth group needed. And so then that kind of led me into doing web design as well. I started to kind of revamp the youth group's website. And then I started to help out other people, like just friends and family who needed things. And then from there, it kind of started to grow and kind of became like a really huge side hustle while I continued to serve as a pastor. So that's kind of like how I got started with design. Yeah, I kind of stumbled into it and then fell in love with it.
Yeah, that is so cool. I a little bit similar where I just started helping people and then just playing around in Photoshop and it just grew and grew from there. And I know you love Canva. I mean,
I do.
your reels and your Instagram stuff. Like my girl who teaches Canva inside my computer. Well, she is in the computer teaching usually, but inside our community, like she loves Canva as well. And she's always like, she was very excited about today's interview.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
sweet.
so
Yeah.
sweet. But today we're going to talk some tips with our viewers about mastering Canva and tips and techniques for elevating your design. So I know you've always got lots of great tips, but how
So
can
many.
so many, so many. So how can Canva be used for graphic design and for your visual content? What's some hot tips you can give around that for our
Yeah, I
listeners?
mean, well, there's like the obvious ones, right? So there's social media graphics, print designs. You can do things like flyers and posters and banners. But then the work suite has now broadened out so that you can do things like whiteboard. So you could collaborate in real time, whether that's with your team or if you're doing a webinar and you want people to all be able to jump in and move things around, use sticky notes. They can give their take on certain things. You could ask a question like, what's one limiting belief that you're pushing through right now, and everybody can take their sticky note and write on that. So it's really cool to see that happen in real time. Canva Docs is obviously a really big one that they announced last year at Canva Create, and that has only gotten bigger and bigger. And with Canva Docs is their AI called Magic Write. So everybody's talking about, Chat GPT, and then GPT-4 is about to come out, and it's getting crazy out here, y'all. And so that's a really cool one that a lot of people love. And then videos, their video editor has become so powerful over the last even 6 to 9 months, and they're constantly making updates. And I'm so excited about some of the new features that they're going to release next week at Canva Create. That some of those things I can't talk about yet, but everybody's going to flip. They're going to flip their lid. It's going to be exciting. But you can use their video editor for things like Instagram Reels and making TikToks. And then they've got a cool partnership with Epidemic Sound. So if you want to find really cool music and sound effects for your videos, you can do all that. It's becoming the one-stop shop for content creators, which is one of the many reasons that I love Canva and write songs about Canva.
Yes, you certainly do. That's so cool. Always makes me laugh. The the whiteboard feature, I never thought about using it in an actual live webinar because we do use Google Docs to write and collaborate in, but that was a really great tip. I'm like, "Oh, how can I put that into our marketing and sales strategy as well?" So that's a
Yep.
great tip there. And yeah, the Magic Write, how are you finding using the Magic Write? What's some tips you can give around that? Because I know AI is a big thing right now, right? And even my girls, when they're coming up with ideas for content, they've started using Magic Write just to initiate it. So, what are you using the Magic Write stuff
Yeah,
with?
yeah,
Yeah.
same kind of way that I would use any of these other AI, the benefit is that it's all happening within Canva. So I try to be able to do everything I can in one platform if possible, so I'm not jumping all around. And they're still making improvements to Magic Write. But for instance, I'll give you an example. And this is a video that I'll probably release sometime in the next couple of weeks. But I asked Magic Write to write me a song. I said,
Oh,
write me a
cool.
song about the struggles of posting on social media. And so it gave me these lyrics. And then I said, okay, now write me a chord progression for a song, for a rap song. And so it gave me these chord progressions. And so I kind of documented the whole process. I needed to
Wow.
make a couple of tweaks here and there. So, of course, with all of these AI, it's not, you're going to have to make some tweaks or change the prompts that you're giving it to get the result that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that a couple times throughout it and recorded the song, and so it's almost ready for me to post. You'll see it probably here in the next couple of weeks, but yeah.
Wow, we're getting
Always
some.
using stuff like that as, like, idea generation. That's kind of how I'm using all of these AI tools
Yeah.
is, if you're feeling stuck or you need an outline or something like that, very rarely do I end up with like the full like final result, but it helps to spark ideas for to get you to the final result, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a really good point. I love the sparking the idea because sometimes, as content creators, we're constantly creating content that sometimes we feel like we're regurgitating the same things and we just need a
Totally.
new perspective on things. What would you say is one of your most favorite features? I mean, Canva comes with a lot, like it's a one
Yeah.
stop shop for content creators, but what would be one of your favorite tools?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say that is so, so tough. Like, you're
Mm.
asking the wrong person because there's so many that I love. So I guess I'll talk about like some of the ones that people love the most. And this one
Yeah.
is one everybody knows about, but when I see the light go off for people in workshops, it's usually around being able to use Brand Kit and then just within a couple of clicks, change the entire template to match their brand colors. And so being able to do change all colors, now you can do change all fonts. And then, speaking of fonts, they just partnered up with Monotype, which just unlocked like 1,100 new fonts. So I'm a
Oh.
fontaholic. So
Oh
obviously
my
that's like
goodness,
a big one
yes,
for me.
typography. I love it. I actually designed my own typeface once, and I love good typography. That's so exciting.
Yeah, but another kind of like undiscovered one that people are still experimenting with is bulk create. I know I've seen a lot of posts going viral around bulk create, people
Hmm.
taking quotes from a site like ChatGPT or even within Magic Write, asking it to, spit out a bunch of quotes and then using bulk create to, in just a few minutes, create 30 graphics because they uploaded the CSV that had that spreadsheet of all those quotes in it. I just posted a video to my Instagram about how to use bulk create to create a video countdown. And so, using some of those things in ways that may not be the traditional way that you would use them and kind of like pushing the envelope. I'm always trying to see like, can I do this in Canva? That's like all
Yes.
like every week. That's my question. Okay, that looks cool. Can I do that in Canva? and usually
Yeah.
I can.
That's really cool. So, total props to you for the countdown timer because we have had our clients, because our clients teach live events and convert high ticket coaching clients through live events. And I always run the countdown timer, but I use Ecamm, right? So,
Hmm.
that's how I set up my scenes. All the pretty graphics in the background, the moving visuals, that's all done inside of Canva. So, all of
Yeah.
that. But the countdown timer is done inside of Ecamm, and people keep asking, "Oh, how do you do a good countdown timer?" And I saw your thing. I sent it to my girl. I'm like, "We need to show our community this." So I don't know how many of our community members are watching right now, but we're totally saying it came from you. But the girl, one of my girls, next week I think is teaching the countdown timer if she hasn't done it already
I
because of
love
seeing
that.
your video. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love that, and anything that I can do to help others use Canva to create the content that they want. And, kind of getting back to the question of like favorite features, I really can't pick just one, but obviously video background remover was also a really big one that they
Yeah.
released that a lot of people love. And that was another video that performed pretty well on Instagram, was showing people how to put text behind you or an image behind you. People were like, "Oh my goodness, you can do this in Canva," and yeah, you can.
Yeah, so that image, like the moving video background one, that's really, really cool. So, what's some uses that you've seen people using where they've cut out their video and they've got like themselves moving? What's some uses that you could recommend to people?
Yeah, my hope is that Canva will give us the ability to download a GIF with a transparent background.
Yeah.
But, I haven't heard anything on that front yet, but I'm hoping. And but I would say that's probably one of the use cases that I would see, is that if you're doing all of your video in Canva, like an Instagram reel, and you want to have you kind of like popping up doing one of those things, then you can remove the video background and then have that pop up on whatever video that you're editing within Canva.
Hmm.
So it doesn't give you the ability to download it with a transparent background, but it doesn't matter if you're doing all your video editing within Canva. I think that's probably one of the coolest use cases that I've seen for something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's really fun. My girls have been playing with it, but yes, the transparent background would be
Yeah.
amazing because at
Yeah.
the moment they're using a secondary app or the little Dr. Sparkle dancing girl that I've got going around. Like I brought that into
Yes.
Canva and I removed
Mm.
the background, but then I put like a green screen behind it and brought it into Premiere and then
Right.
removed
Chroma key. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
alpha 444 or whatever it is, so I
Yeah.
could get the transparent background. And but yes, oh, that would be so good if they could bring that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're always bringing in new really cool things, aren't they? Like,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like okay, my favorite feature is literally one that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. Because I'm a Canva verified expert, there's about 45 of us in the world.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, they'll talk to us about different features, and they haven't released yet. So we're kind of like testing some of those.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, the one, and I'm sure they'll release it next week at Canva Create. But that one is probably my favorite feature, and it's going to be a
Yeah.
game changer for content creators. That's all I
Oh,
can say.
okay. Oh well, I'm so excited. I'm going to be up front row center, waiting to
Yeah.
hear all. I was so excited, and they make it a really cool event as well. One thing I would have to
Yep.
say I love about Canva the most is their commitment to community. And
Yes.
how they're always wanting to, like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about how they're always out there giving back to community, building spaces
Mhm.
where people can work. I mean, here in Sydney, there's a space that they rent out to nonprofits to run events
Mhm.
in. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And last year, they did a whole heap of awards, didn't they, for people who use Canva for creative ways. I
Yep.
thought that was really fantastic. What's some of the most creative ways you've seen people use Canva?
Probably my friend Hadass. They just featured her on their Instagram channel, and she like created a game, like a board game, all
Mm-hmm.
within Canva. Had it printed out and everything. That's one of the cooler ways that I've seen
Yeah.
um, people using Canva. And then I'm working with a lot of like nonprofits and churches and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was a really cool opportunity because many years ago, it's been about 7 years ago now. Uh, my wife lost her father very suddenly, and she was 7 months pregnant at the time. And then 2 weeks later, we lost the baby. And so we went to a local Christian counseling center here with just friends that we knew,
Mm-hmm.
and they were very helpful and like, hey, these are some of the things that you might experience, and just kind of like helped us process the grief that we were dealing with. And about 3 months ago, they got in touch with me and they're like, can you come teach our team how to use Canva? And I
Oh.
was like, that was such a cool moment for me because they were such a pivotal team in helping me to heal, and then to
Mm-hmm.
go back and be able to teach them how to use Canva to continue to resource other people who are also grieving and going through maybe one of the hardest things that they've ever been through.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of like a full circle moment for me. And so yeah, so I would say that one is a really cool way that I'm seeing people use Canva, is in a way to reach out to people who are hurting and offer them resources to help them through that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story. That is really lovely. Same, we lost a child as well, and the counsellors that we went through, it's what they call Hope here locally,
Mhm.
and yeah, we still send them Christmas cards. And it was 19 years ago now we lost our son,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, it's a different type of grief when you definitely when you lose a
It
child.
is. Yeah, I'm so sorry
Yeah,
you went through that.
yeah. Look, but here's the reason why I do what I do, right?
Mhm.
I started a business and it was called DJ, Dedicated Designs, right? Back when I was just doing design work. And here's the reason why I decided life is too goddamn short to not do what you love.
Mhm.
So that's, yeah, he's the inspiration for me
Yeah.
really going all in on being an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
taking something good from that. Like every year, we go and buy Christmas presents together for whatever age he would have been. So me, my daughter, and my husband, and
Mhm.
we put it under a tree. It's called the Came Up Wishing Tree for underprivileged people. And so, you know, when he turned 18, we bought a mountain bike and riding gear and all the things and donated it to a 18-year-old boy.
Wow.
So you
That's
can,
amazing.
you like, you know, his, even though it was a hard time, we've learned, we've, as a family, we've decided to use it as a positive way, right?
Yeah.
To, yeah, appreciate life and to give back as well. So,
I
and
love that so much.
and how you've done the same thing, you know, how nice it is that you've been noticed and recognized. And then it's a really great feeling, right? When we can give back with our talents. It's,
It is.
yeah, it's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Canva. So I know a lot of people here are all about like content creation, or they wouldn't be following you or I. And what's some great tips that you can give in regards to using Canva, but ensuring that you're creating content effectively across different platforms? Because that's what so many people struggle with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it kind of starts before you get into Canva, as being able to have an understanding of who your target audience is. And then one thing that was very crucial for me, I started my Instagram account in 2020. And so I just, started following some experts, and it was when Instagram Reels had just kicked off. So like everybody was trying to figure out Instagram Reels. And so my friend Natasha, she started this 30-day Instagram Reels challenge. That's literally how I kicked off my account. But it was so good because it wasn't just like, hey, let's make cool videos. She taught a lot about things like content pillars. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the strategic part of being able to post online, so that I'm not just posting random stuff. And so I crafted my 3 to 5 content pillars very early on in starting my account. And I think that clarity is what has served me so well here over the last 2.5 years or so. And I would recommend that for anybody that's trying to figure out, who am I trying to reach and how am I going to get engagement? Because it's easy to look at everybody and what everyone else is doing and think, oh, I should be doing that. I should be doing that. But if it doesn't get you closer to your goal, then you're kind of just wasting time. So you want to be strategic, because we don't have a lot of time. And I know it's hard trying to make graphics and reels and figure out what's connecting and what's not connecting. And so if you can at least have that strategic piece done up front, then when you get into Canva and it's time to create all of those assets for your brand, you've got a head start, right? And I always say, I'm not a social media expert, like, at all. That's what my friend Natasha's for. That's what all these other like Instagram gurus are for, right? That's not me. I'm not a social media expert. I'm a social media experimenter. So if you want to like come to my page, you can expect that not every post is going to perform perfectly because I might be testing something. I just want to see how does this resonate with my audience? Is this something that like they're jiving with, or they're like, yo, that was totally whack? And then you look at the analytics, you look at the metrics, and you see how it performed. And if it didn't do well, why didn't it do well? Did it have to do with you were outside of those 3 to 5 content pillars that your audience has become accustomed to finding whenever they come across your page? Or, was it time of day? Like you start to kind of break down what it was. And so then once you've got all that stuff squared away, right? And I work with clients. I do VIP design days, and before I work with a client, like they've got to have the brand stuff figured out. Like you got to have your typography, your colors, like your style guide ready to go. Because then when we get into Canva, now I can create all of these assets and promotional materials for your brand that are consistent with what you've already come up with. And so, utilizing the brand kit that is within Canva to stay on brand and consistent, and creating Instagram reels, TikToks. You don't have to do that stuff from scratch. You can literally go to the search bar and type in Instagram reels, just type in TikTok, and there's going to be templates for it. And you can just apply your brand colors, apply whatever your content pillars are to it. Boom, you're off to the races.
That's so good. The fact that the branding options are so easy inside of Canva too once you've got that all sorted. But I think it's a really important point for everyone out there listening, that foundational work, that stuff that you have to start before getting into Canva. And I know when I used to teach design, people used to like jump straight into Photoshop or straight into Illustrator. And I'm like, have you sketched the idea, or have you mapped out some type of way you believe you want to go? Or you'll just spend hours in there moving things around just for the sake of moving things around, right?
Yeah.
So the 3 content pillars, I'd love to know a little bit more about that. When you're deciding on your content pillars, can you explain that to the audience as well?
Yeah. For me, like the process of going through that was knowing the target audience. Who are you trying to reach? Because if you're just talking about stuff that only you're interested in, that might be a different type of a brand for you. Maybe that's more of like a lifestyle brand, and maybe you're trying to get like brand partnerships and stuff like that. But if you have like a demographic where you're trying to create an offer or a service and sell that to someone, you want to understand like, okay, well, what are their pain points, and what am I gifted at? Where are my areas of expertise? And what are the kinds of content that my audience is looking for? So like I would go and follow the people that I thought my followers were following, or I would look at the people that my followers were following. And then you can kind of like trick the algorithm during this learning process, right? You engage with all of those accounts, and then Instagram's going to serve you all of that content, and you're like, okay, this is the type of content that my followers are seeing. And then you can also look for the gaps. Okay, so if these are the people that they're following, but I have an area of expertise that there's a gap, like other people aren't talking about these things, there's an opportunity there for me. So for me, I knew that a lot of my audience was like social media managers and small business owners who were doing it themselves, and they didn't have someone that they could just hire out to do the design work. So I'm thinking through, okay, I know that I love talking about Canva. It's obviously something that social media managers are also going to be talking about. I love to talk about entrepreneurship and kind of like my journey, because I went from being a pastor who just kind of did design on the side to like, I got to figure this stuff out. My church closed in 2019, and it went from like this was a side hustle to like, oh, this is like the main hustle. I should probably figure out what I'm doing here, right? And so I kind of started my entrepreneurial journey during that time. And so I love talking to other people who are also entrepreneurs and trying to figure that stuff out. And so that became one of my content pillars. And then content creation became another one, because it goes beyond just Canva. It goes like, how do we even come up with the ideas for the things that we are going to be posting online? What tools do we use? What apps do we use? And so I started to kind of like put all that stuff together. And those were all things that I loved and was interested in. And also, I knew that there was going to be a connection with my audience. So that's kind of how I went through that process.
I love that. And so we do everything here by threes. If we can't decide on something like how, like when we put one post up on social media on one platform, when should we post it on the other platform? And we can't decide. Let's just do 3 days, right? Or we were doing a photo shoot yesterday, and we had to do like all of the, the GIFs and all of these shots, and we're like,
Yep.
we've got to do this in different outfits. How many outfits? Let's just do 3, right? So every time there's a decision to be made and we can't decide, we just go, let's do 3. So I love the
magic
fact
number.
that you've got 3 pillars, right? Like that resonates with me a lot. So like a
Yeah, I mean,
tripod, can't stand.
technically, I
Yeah.
I probably have like 5 actually,
Yeah.
but I kind of feel like because music and humor, they end up in there somewhere, but they actually serve more of like umbrellas. Like I try to
Yeah.
whatever I'm serving up, I try to add one of those elements in there
Mm.
because it seems to help resonate with my audience more. There's plenty of people talking about Canva and content creation and all that kind of stuff, but that's the beauty of social media is that you get to add your own unique flair to it, right? There's nobody talking about Canva the way that I talk about Canva. And you have to kind of like lean into that instead of just seeing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Because the reason that you'll stand out is because you're not doing it the same way everybody else is doing it. So I would hope that that would be an encouragement to someone that might be just like, it's okay to be inspired by what other people are doing, but just remember that like you bring your own unique flair to whatever it is that you're serving to your follower.
Yeah, that's a really important point, and for everyone listening, serious, because you might look and like he's dancing, he's singing, he's making songs and love songs about Canva. I've got dance parties and rainbow hair, but also
Yes.
you don't, in
Sparkles.
the sparkles, but you also don't have to be like that either. Like we've got
Right.
clients that like when they talk, you just it's just like you're wrapping yourself in cotton wool. They're so relaxed and calming, and it fits
Yeah.
within their niche and their industry. So stepping
Yep.
into what makes you unique and just like do it without worrying about judgment and fear and all the things. And I think then you will shine through. So I love how
Yep.
you mix music. I swear I must have been a conductor in in a previous life, because I'm that person when I hear music, I can like see where they're sitting in the band, and I know, percussion's down there and the violins are over here, and so I love music. So when I meet other
Yeah.
people who are inspired by music, and I know you like to, make out raps and all the cool stuff, but anything to do with music, I really, really love. And your content is always so engaging because of the music factor. And
Mhm.
I follow a lot of people who also are artists and do music. I think there's that, I don't know, I just love it. I'm not that I'm a campfire guitar player, seriously. I just play the major chords, so I've got something to sing along to.
That's okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, right. But I love how you've been able to bring in those other parts of you. Like you said, that's kind of like the umbrella. I would say it's kind of like your internal persona, right? That is who
Yeah.
you are alongside the thing that we help people with. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about content creation for social media? How do you suggest we create it in a way that is engaging? Do you have any hot tips around that?
Yeah, I mean, the when I'm thinking about what I'm gonna post online, everything kind of runs through the filter of the content pillars. That's where it starts, right? But then beyond that, the next filter is, okay, what format will this be? So you're thinking, is this gonna be a carousel? Is it gonna be just like a static feed post? Is this gonna be an Instagram reel, TikTok video, whatever? And then the filter after that would be, okay, is this going to be like an encouraging post? Is this an entertaining post? Is this an educational post? So those kind of filters help me to craft the kind of post that hopefully will end up being engaging. But again, there's no real way to predict. I mean, some people say there is a way to predict what's going to go viral. I haven't found that out yet. But again, I'm not a social media expert. I'm just an experimenter. So
I love that. Well, everything around business is testing, trying, experimenting. So much of what we do,
yeah.
problem solving. I'm in the business of problem solving as an entrepreneur. Every day there's a problem.
Yep.
Just got to figure out how to fix it. But yeah, just keep experimenting. I like that. Do you have, so you were saying, funny lifestyle. Do you have a set kind of list that you try to kind of create too? That you like check the boxes when you're creating content?
Yeah, I mean, I have like a Notion template. So my Notion template, I just drop all of my ideas in there. Like
Hmm.
even in middle of the night, I can just open up the app or wherever I'm at, I have access to that, wherever there's internet. So I just drop all my ideas in there and then I try to categorize them by whatever content pillar I think that they fit into.
Hmm.
And then there have been times I'm not currently doing this, but there have been times that with Notion, I have another page that like aggregates all of that data and pulls in only the social media posts. Cause sometimes I'm brainstorming ideas for Canva templates, and those are all classified in like my master task list, right? So I just want to see only the ideas that I had that are related to the things I'll post on social media. And then I'll use it as like a calendar and I kind of like plug it in. So if it feels like, oh, I've been going a little heavy on like Canva, which I talk a lot about Canva, but if I can look at that calendar and go, I probably need to like break up those two Canva posts with like a content creation post or something else. So that kind of helps me to make sure that I'm keeping my feed balanced.
Yeah, I like that. Spreadsheets, the way to go. I use Excel, but you use Notion and I use Asana. But I've heard great things about Notion for content planning. So it's good to hear that wherever you've got internet, you're brain dumping your ideas in there. It's very interesting how everybody does things a little differently for brainstorming. Another a guest I interviewed the other day, they said they have quick tip ideas in their head all the time and they just make a tweet about it, right?
That's smart. Yeah.
And then they've put the content in the tweet and then the team go in and then they go and create content, think about, podcast episodes, all the things, but every idea is just might as well stick it out there, and he tweets
Yeah.
about it every time. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, think it to yourself, how are you capturing those ideas? Do you have a set process in where you're like, oh, got this idea, where will I put it? I have an idea, I throw it in Slack, right? My team then take that idea, and if it's relevant, they'll bring it into a team meeting. So I think it's really important that we all, because as creators, as entrepreneurs, so many ideas, right?
So many. Yeah. I was
So
falling asleep
many.
the other night and I had this idea and I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. I should post that. And then I was like, I'll remember that idea. And the next day came around, I was like, no, it's gone forever.
I know, right? I know. I usually have these little cute KKK writing pads next to the bed, or if I, those nights where you can't get to sleep because ideas just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Yeah,
Yep.
I've just got to get up and write them out or audio them out to myself just to get them out of my head. Do you find
Yeah.
the same as a creator? There are nights where you just bombarded with ideas.
Yes, yeah, and you need that that way of capturing them because there will also be the opposite moments where you're like, I have zero ideas. But if you've done a good job of cataloging those, then you can just go back to those ideas from when you did have that crazy brainstorming session, right?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Look, my team always writes. So Mar, the podcast manager who you've been speaking with, she always writes some sparkle questions that are a little off topic, just so we can get to know you a little better. So
I'm ready.
I have three for you. So when you were young,
Let's go.
what did you want to be, and how does it show up for you today?
Yeah, okay. When I was young, I actually thought maybe I would be an architect. Um, I also there's 3 things really when I was a kid. I didn't do like the typical I'm gonna be a policeman, firefighter, or whatever. I thought I was gonna be a pastor. When I was like 5 years old, I was like, "I'm gonna be a pastor." And then I wanted to be an architect. And then I was like, I want to be Michael Jordan. And the Michael Jordan thing was just like not in the
Yeah.
cards for me. I was never that good, never that tall, never that athletic. And so I played basketball, but was never on that level. But what's crazy is like when I was a kid, I used to make funny videos all the time. And this was back when we had like camcorder on your shoulder, like these massive beasts.
I
And
swear, we're the same age. I swear, we definitely feel like we're the same age here.
there was no like cap cut, there was no InShot, there was no Adobe Premiere at that age. And so, everything was just like one take. We're doing it all in one take. Okay, pause, and then we'll do the next scene or whatever. But it's funny to kind of also see that come full circle because it was something that brought me such great joy when I was a kid. And I would do music videos. There was a guy named Tevin Campbell. He's the guy who sang the Goof Troop or Goofy Movie song. You know that song? I won't sing. I don't know what the copyright is on our live stream, so I won't sing it. But you know the one. You know the one. And
Yeah.
so I would do like music videos. I used to wear these little white turtlenecks, and I'd like lip sync to like all his little R&B songs and stuff. So it's kind of cool because I was doing that when I was like 10 years old, and now here I am like for my career, and I'm making a bunch of funny videos. Like you talked about being on stage in Sydney, and it's like I remember being there feeling so grateful, being like, how did I get here? Like I feel like this is such a providential moment. Like I really felt like for me, I felt like God opened up that door. But I also felt like it's crazy that like writing a bunch of funny songs is why I'm on stage in Sydney right now. Like I've been a
So
designer for
awesome.
whatever, and you got all these different things that you've like worked for, but that was the thing. And so yeah, funny songs, funny videos as a kid, and now I get to do that basically for a living. It's kind of a dream come true.
Yeah, it's a pinch yourself moment, right? When every
Yeah.
so often you sit down and you think, I get paid for this. I make a
Yeah.
living doing
How
this
is this
thing.
possible?
I know, right? I'm the same. And now I've got this amazing team around me as well. You've been able to fly, to Australia because of Canva. And I mean, as content creators, as entrepreneurs in this online world and space, we're very lucky to be able to share what we're good at with the world, and some people pay us for that, and those that don't still go forth and use our stuff and do amazing things with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. Talking about the camcorders on the shoulder, I'm like, we are so probably the same age. I used to do the cassette tapes, the pause play, trying to get
Yeah.
the songs from the radio station, and you're just waiting for the DJ to stop talking so you could hit the unpause button.
Yeah.
And then I'd have a cassette tape sitting on one side playing the music, and then another cassette tape recording. So I was singing with the cassette tape and recording myself, making my own, album.
Kids these days don't know the struggle of what it was. Like you had to really like love your boyfriend or girlfriend in order to sit down and make them a mixtape based
Mixtape.
off of what the radio was playing.
I know, right? I know. Those mixtapes were awesome. So cool. My daughter actually brought a friend a mixtape, but it not a real, like we used to do mixtapes. But it looked like a cassette tape, and in it was a little USB stick that she could use, and a QR code as well to put it onto Spotify. I thought that was really cool. But the
That's
struggles
amazing.
of like, oh, they spoke before the song finished, or
You ruined it.
yeah, I know, right? It's like, don't speak yet. But it used to be so fun. We used to go to school with the double cassette tape on the shoulder and dance around the
Yep.
school ground and stuff like that. So
Yep.
definitely feeling we've come up in the same generation. Oh, awesome. All right. Okay. So what about books? Are you a reader or a listener? What do you prefer to do?
Yeah, I do both. Yeah, but I would say like books that have impacted me the most would be How to Win Friends and Influence People,
That's a big one. Yeah.
Don't Sweat the Small Stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and The 12-Week Year. Those
Yeah.
three books have shaped me in such a big way. And I've read all of those just like in the last 3 to 5 years. And I regret that I did not read them sooner.
Uh-huh. We all have those books that we regret, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. For me, I wish I had read it earlier. I wish they taught it
Yeah.
in schools. Traction, right? The book Traction. But yeah, how to win friends and influence people. That's huge. Whenever we ask this question, like your three top books, so many people bring that one up because it's massive, right? Like it really is such a timeless book as well. All
Yeah.
right. So here's a tricky one that some people get stuck on. If
Uh-oh.
you were to step into my shoes and you were asking you the questions, what's something that you would have asked yourself that I didn't?
Mm. We've covered a lot, but I would say maybe I would ask about what's the deal with this latest Canva song that just dropped. I don't know if you've
Ah,
if you've seen this one. It's
no, I
floating
have
around on
not.
social media right now.
Oh, okay. So straight after this, I'll be on the Google. What is the deal? Come on, then share.
Yeah, so Canva reached out to me. I'm going to share a little bit about this here in the next couple of days on my Instagram. But
Oh,
they
we've
reached
got the
out and they said,
scoop.
"Hey, we would
Excellent.
love to like, would you be interested in collaborating with us for a US brand campaign that we're going to do? And of course, my answer was like, heck yeah, like, let's do it, you know? And so what that looked like is that they had a song idea that they sent over, and there was a little blurb in the brief that was like, you know, if you want to just like write your own, like that's fine too. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. So I wrote this song based around all of the different topics that they wanted to cover in this song, and they booked me a studio. I went to the studio and recorded, and we did like a, I can't remember what it's called, Source Connect. So they're in Australia. I'm like up in Maryland in the studio there recording, and they're giving feedback. And so it was such a fun collaborative process because we're doing like, okay, let's do an ad, let's add a line here. And then I was like, you know what I like to do in songs is like I add in all these like kind of stuff in the background. And so I'm like recording the whole song, and then I come back and do like overdubs of like ticky tock, like little phrases like that, you know, like, or I'm in the background going, woo, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, this is a Straight Talk with Sally exclusive. Awesome. I love that. So they loved it so much that they were like, hey, we would love, this was initially going to be streamed on like Spotify, Pandora as an ad, you know, so you're listening to your music, it gets interrupted with an ad, normally annoying, hopefully with this ad not annoying. And so, but they were like, our team loved it so much that we want to do streaming TV as well. And so now it's going to be like streaming on television, which is like insane. You know, like I never would have
Whoa,
thought, you know, as a kid
congratulations.
or yeah, yeah, you know, that I would end up having like a national song that or a national brand campaign that's being heard through like all just, it's just crazy, right? I mean, it's like I don't understand how we got here, but I'm grateful for all of it.
It's so awesome. That is so good. Well, congratulations. I'm going to 100%
Thank you.
be like going out and Googling and stalking that. And our podcast manager, Marge, said, yay, an exclusive for
Yeah.
Straight Talk with Sally. There's a lot of people out on the live stream now loving what you've got to share. Now, okay, so our team and I were having a meeting the other day, and they want to do what's called fast talk with Sally.
Okay.
Okay, so yes. So I'm going to ask a question with two options, and then I'm going to
Okay.
come up with a follow-up question. We're going to keep them quick and snappy. Okay.
I'm ready.
So I've got 7 questions. Mara, if you're listening, let's make it 9 because you know that's 3 lots of 3. Just saying. And I think I've got to decide, I think we were going to set a timer and see how many we could get through in like a minute or something like that. But we're just going to wing
Okay.
it right now because this is brand new featured section of the podcast now. So it's called Fast Talk with Sally. All right, question 1.
Let's go.
Canva for individuals or Canva for teams?
Ooh, individuals.
Why?
Most people that I talk with just don't have a team. It's
Yeah.
just kind of them doing it themselves.
All
So
right.
yeah, I would say individual.
Canva for print or Canva for web?
Oh, print.
Why?
Because not everywhere in the world, but they have free delivery, free shipping,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a big one. And they just showed me some stuff that's coming up that I can't talk about yet, but it's going to make the print side of things even better.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Canva mobile app or Canva desktop app?
Oh yeah, I'm desktop like all day, every day.
Yeah, why?
It's just I'm a graphic designer and I do a lot of templates for Canva's library because I'm a Canva creator. And
Yeah.
so I need that big monitor so I can see everything clearly. But I will use the mobile app if I'm in a bind, but usually like I'm on the go in the car, like, oh snap, I need to like make this quick change for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I'll use the mobile app every now and then.
Yeah. Written content or video content?
Video.
Yes. Why?
Yeah. Video just for me comes a little bit more naturally. I like being able to make funny videos and things like that. And I'm not as gifted in like the making written content as funny without there being the video piece. The video is really what like makes it come alive for me.
Yeah. Regular or sporadic content publishing?
Regular. Whatever
Yeah.
that looks like for you. You know, like I post regularly, but I don't post every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm consistent enough that my audience knows that I'm going to be there and I'm going to show up and I'm going to answer their questions and their DMs and respond to their comments. But for me, I don't necessarily post to my feed, but I'm a regular on my stories. So there are some times that people are like, "Oh yeah, you post like pretty regularly." I'm like, "But I don't. I just it feels that way
Yeah.
because you're seeing me pop up in stories."
Entertaining or educational content?
Both. Yeah.
Got to choose one.
I
Which one?
yeah, no. Probably educational
Yeah.
because of the trend that we're seeing happening in 2023. A lot of people are creating original content, and that's kind of like becoming the thing that sets you apart as an expert, because you can find entertainment anywhere, but it's hard to find people who actually know what they're talking about.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Are you a dog or a cat person?
Dog. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
a cockapoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, gotta. We're for dogs here. And what is your favorite quote as of this moment? What would be the first
Oh
quote?
my oh my goodness. My favorite quote, this one I'm stumped on a little bit. Um I guess it would probably be, can I pick kind of between two?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, we're
I mean,
flexible here.
yeah, the first one is very simple, and it's just be yourself. For me, so much has come from just being myself and being authentically who I am. And I used to think that, like, when I started my business, that I had to be seen as like poised and professional. And then it was when I was like, no, that's not working for me. Like, I want to be able to be myself. That's when all the doors started to open for me. And
Mm,
so I would encourage people, just be yourself.
yeah.
And then I guess the second one would be, it's probably more of a question, but it comes from the 12-week year. And it's, is this moving you closer to your goals or further away from your goals? And that helps me to kind of make decisions on a daily or weekly basis.
Yeah, I love that one. That's one I don't say out loud, but I say in my head very, very often. Yes. All right, and we finish off with a sentence that you have to complete. So, hi, my name is Roger, and I sparkle because. So, if you can say the full sentence.
Oh my goodness. Okay, give it to me one more time. Hi, my name is Roger and I sparkle because.
Yeah, and you say your full name as well. So, hey, my name is Roger Coles, and I sparkle because, and complete the sentence.
Okay. Hi, my name is Roger Coles, and I sparkle because I bring the flavor and the fun to social media. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Thank you, Roger. I've had a great time. I feel
You
like we
too.
could talk for days, especially when it comes to art and design and music. I think that we've got a lot of things in common, and growing up with the cassette
Yes.
tapes and MySpace. Definitely my kind of person. So thank you so much for jumping in. Hang on in. I'll have a little chat with you after we close off this. But guys, if you are joining us live out there on the podcast, first off, did you, oh, look. Oh, my girl, hang on, let's fix that camera. Where did Sally go? She's here somewhere.
Sally disappeared.
She's here. She's here.
Sally sparkles because she
Yeah.
has invisibility powers.
Oh, so good. All right. So, Roger, where is the best place for people to find out more about you? Where do you hang out the most?
Yeah, I mean, I hang out the most on Instagram at my social designer, and then you can kind of find me everywhere else by going to the link in bio, mysocialdesigner.com. You can find my Canva profile. You can get a 45-day trial to Canva Pro, all from those links. So yeah, that's the best spot, at my social designer.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And everyone, honestly, Roger's content is the bomb. I'm always stalking it over on Instagram. So you totally need to go do that. Thank you for joining us. Now, for those who are still here with us, we do have the LinkedIn guru himself, John Bellamy, joining us. He's also an automation tech nerd, just like myself. So I'm sure the conversation's going to be wildly technical and a bit of fun as well. So join us for at the top of the following hour, or if you just go to the calendar, I believe it should be in our calendar, sparkleclassacademy.com/calendar, or just subscribe to the channel. I mean, that's the easiest one, and hit that little ding bell button so that you can get those reminders All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live here on the podcast. And it is podcast batching day, so I will see you back here very soon. And again, thank you, Roger, for the awesome interview. I can't wait to pick your brain more. We might have to get you back on the show again.
Let's do it. Thank you
Let's
so
do
much.
it.
This was a blast for
Awesome.
me.
Fabulous. All right, guys, have a great one. I'll see you in the next live very soon.